Word of advice: if you're going to lament and slam somebody incorrectly or incorrect information on a live stream, you might want to make sure that the intended target is not watching. Honestly, I almost typed in the chat that I was actually present and I heard everything, but thought the better of it in order to respect your channel and the folks in your live chat. Welcome back to another video, and I am your host, CK, aka Straight Talkin' Fedora Chick. Dispensing once again with the usual intro today. I want to take the opportunity to welcome my new subscribers to this channel and to say this will be absolutely the last video on this subject again. And I really wasn't going to do this video until something happened this afternoon on Twitter to change my mind. Regular programming will be back very soon, so I hope you all stick around for that. Jan, if I never had any respect for you, as I don't when I argue politics with right-wingers on my older, larger Twitter account, I would have done just that. Type something in your chat screen. Jan, we need to talk about some things. Yes, I did consider you an online friend. Yes, you have supported me as I have with you in the past when you got into a kerfuffle with another YouTuber who shall remain nameless at this time. And this is why I have been having difficulties wrestling with this ever since that Twitter shit show the other day. Again, if I were tap dancing with an uninformed right-winger in political debate, this would be far easier. At least my adversary is clear. But just because I like you and your channel doesn't mean I will not hold you to account, especially when you are not being factual. In political discourse, they say you can have your own opinion, but you cannot invent the facts. And that is precisely what you tried to do. Before I go on, I was debating since after Jan's live stream last night whether or not to make a video response. And against my better judgment, I am, because of what I saw on Twitter this afternoon. I would have preferred to have had a private discussion with Jan, but it appears to be something she's not interested in. She has proven that before. She did tweet me implying she wanted a Twitter response, which I did not want to do. Something always gets lost in the messaging when restricted to 200 some odd characters per tweet, especially with a dyslexic such as myself. A friend I was chatting with on Discord last night did not recommend I do this video, and I was honestly going to leave it at that too. I am a tiny channel. I'm not monetized. I benefit from nothing by uploading this video, so here goes. First, you railed on Eric, aka Dr1ven Industries, for doing a live stream, 2 live streams actually, about Etika's passing and trying to raise awareness in his name. You made it clear that once you took issue with him using Desmond Amofah's pictures in his thumbnails, you compared him to the Rewired soul, aka Chris Booty. I am here to point out that this couldn't be more wrong. And I will prove this by illustrating a contrast between the two channels as briefly and as humanly as possible. For openers, Chris Booty was a mental health channel, past tense. When he first started out and he talked about addiction and recovery, he spoke of his own personal experiences, trials, and tribulations, until he went off the rails when he felt he was not gaining views and subs. So he turned into a full-out drama channel. I don't know, about 60 videos on Shane Dawson and about 20 or so on Trishy Paytas is kind of a giveaway. And many other bigger YouTubers with his clickbaity thumbnails and titles. Not going to go further into much detail about that. So many, including myself, have uploaded videos on this subject already. Just do a search, seek, and you shall find. Booty admitted on camera that mental health as a niche tends to not do all that well with the YouTube algorithm. So he basically sold his soul. Still called himself a mental health channel, but really it was a drama channel. Poorly disguised at that. He, at least a while ago, has changed his branding since then to social commentary. Actually, same branding as mine. Eric, aka Driven Industries, may have put up a few response videos here and there. Some may well have bordered on drama, but many others in the mental health community or addiction community, as well as many other communities, have somewhat indulged in that, including myself. As a whole, Eric has kept Driven Industries as a mental health awareness channel. He most certainly hasn't uploaded a gazillion videos on the likes of Shane Dawson or Trishy Paytas or other such large YouTubers who yield such drama. Booty is on record on a live stream a while back saying basically that he has not much interest in getting a 9-to-5 regular job. Unfortunately, the live stream has been conveniently taken down, so I cannot provide a clip. But there are people who would corroborate this with me. He said he wanted to do YouTube full-time and make coin with it to pay his bills with that pretty much exclusively. The live stream was conveniently taken down immediately afterward, as I mentioned. I did upload a video on that very subject a while ago, so go search my channel if you're interested. Eric, on the other hand, and one glance at his Social Blade stats will confirm this. He really does not make much a coin at all from YouTube. Check his views on his videos. It's not that many compared to the sub to view ratio. In fact, on a good day, he may earn enough from Google AdSense to perhaps take his wife out for dinner or fill the tank in his car. That's it, nothing more. As a matter of fact, he does not even need YouTube Google AdSense chump change to pay his bills. Eric makes a pretty good living, better than most of us in a year, I might add, as a recreational vehicle salesman. His job also keeps him busy and away from his wife much time due to work-related travel. He's mentioned this before many times on his channel, and I had the privilege of interviewing him for my project, which is a video series on employment and mental health and why it's problematic. For those interested, I already have 2 videos uploaded in the series. The playlist is in the info card above if you're interested. So, I can tell you he really is gainfully employed and successful at his profession that he has had for almost 20 years now. If Eric were only seeking fame and fortune, why would he agree to take the time out of his busy schedule to do the interview for me? He knows he has nothing to gain on that score. No, he agreed to do the interview because he believes in my project. Would the Rewired soul ever do that? Oh, hell no. A tiny channel like mine that flies under most radars would be way beneath him. Eric takes the time to upload short vids on his social media platforms to tell us we're all awesome. For some of us who only hear critique and receive negative reinforcement, or who are just alone or going through a hard time, that small gesture, to at least some of us anyway, can be quite helpful. Booty, aka Rewired Soul, tends to attempt to diagnose strangers on the intertubes. He takes it further sometimes, actually strongly suggesting what his viewers should do. Some of his own advice, downright dangerous, like when he was slamming Suboxone use for those in recovery from opioid addiction. Eric understands what may work for him may not work for everybody else. He makes that clear very often in his videos and his social media posts. He encourages us, the viewers, to find our own path, to see what works for us. He understands there is no cookie-cutter solution for mental health. He also understands that a lot of us suffering have nowhere to turn. He took the trouble to start a Discord account so many of us can find kindred spirits to talk to when there's no one else. Now, on to the reason why I decided to upload this video after all. Jan was on Twitter and she posted the link to True Geordie podcast video on the subject of Etika's suicide, tweeting that this was the correct way to discuss the tragedy. There she showed glaring inconsistencies with her message, especially since her upload from a few days ago and her live stream from last night, as well as her recent tweets, kept harping on that it was wrong and exploitative for Eric to use Etika's picture in his thumbnails on his videos on that subject. I'm not even going to bother any further with the Rewired soul. That is what it is. And we don't expect anything more. The other glaring issue she had was raising suicide and mental health awareness in Etika, aka Desmond Amofah's name. Oh, and Jan, speaking of which, you also made it clear you didn't like Eric making videos about the tragedy, yet you did the very same thing over the past weekend. You did it to hammer and pass judgment on Eric and others like myself who agree that raising awareness in his name is not tasteless, as you seem to put it. How does that make you so much better? And what makes you judge, jury, and executioner? How does that put you on a moral high ground? Especially when you exaggerated while lamenting about me on your live stream last night. Anyway, let's examine True Geordie's podcast video from yesterday. I mean, like I said, Jan says it was the correct way, as opposed to Eric, aka Dr1ven Industries. So let's see, let's take a look. Keeping in mind Jan's major issues with Eric was the usage of the thumbnails, speaking of his own experiences of losing a father and a wife to suicide, as he has it so many times in the past in his videos, and thinks raising suicide mental health awareness in Etika's name is wrong. So let's take a look. Did True Geordie and his co-host Lawrence McKenna follow Jan's guidelines? Well, in the split screen you see here, both True Geordie and Dr1ven Industries are using Etika's picture in the thumbnail with their own pictures as well. So, other than a little design doing, there's not much difference. Moving right along. Did True Geordie podcast avoid talking about themselves? Well, no. I watched their video and they did talk about their own experiences with mental health issues and suicide ideations in the past in their video. And they did so with honesty and sincerity. And like with anyone else, it takes guts to do that. Did True Geordie and Lawrence McKenna avoid trying to raise awareness in Etika's name, as Jan seems to have a huge problem with? Well, let's see. Without watching the video, the viewer who had clicked on it can very well see that the title of the video pretty much implies that they would be raising awareness in their video in Etika's name. So let's take a look at the description box. Well, True Geordie. On June 19th, 2019, the YouTuber known to many as Etika, Desmond Amofah, took his own life. The 29-year-old created a big platform for himself with his entertaining videos and live streams, mainly playing Nintendo games. The death has had such a huge effect on the YouTube community. True Geordie and Lawrence McKenna try to tackle a sensitive issue, sharing their own experiences in the hope of helping others and preventing this from happening again. And a link to donate to a charity in Etika's name is available. And of course, suicide hotlines in various countries. It should also be noted In addition to Eric's job in sales, he does run a nonprofit that he often talks about under the same name as his channel, Dr1ven Industries with a number 1, which is to basically raise awareness and to provide an alternative for anyone with nowhere to turn or to find somebody to talk to, as well as finding other resources. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that now. I do have the interview with Eric for my employment and mental health series coming up, where we speak a little bit more about that. Yes, I would say before watching their video, that is True Geordie, their intent is quite clear that they do indeed want to raise awareness in Etika's name. Now, don't get me wrong, I did watch most of True Geordie's video, and I found it sincere, and they were very well spoken, all handled with care. I do applaud their efforts because they are a pretty big channel with about 1.5 million subscribers, so they do have a much larger reach than most of us in the mental health community do. It should be noted, for those who don't know, True Geordie's channel is pretty much a variety channel where they talk about everything from sports around the world to current events, with even a little YouTube drama thrown in. They are not a mental health channel as a rule. So it is admirable they took the time to produce their video. As mentioned, since they get more views than most of us on our channels, more awareness can be spread. More people can hear or watch. As I've mentioned in previous videos on this subject, even if one such tragedy is prevented, we are already miles ahead. If anyone's interested in the previous 2 videos I did, links, one after the other, will be in the info card above. I should point out that Eric's 2 videos on the subject are not monetized. I did not get any ads, and I am not signed on to YouTube Premium, so I do get all the ads where there are to be found. There are no timestamp placements on the timeline of either of the videos for ads for monetization. True Geordie's has about 3 timestamp placements, and I did get ads. However, I should be pointed out that they said in the description box, as mentioned earlier, that whatever money the video makes, they will send to charity. Rewired Soul's vids appear to be monetized or set to monetization as usual. It's all likely moot anyway, because it appears that YouTube will likely demonetize all videos on the subject of etika and suicide. I'm sorry for how all of this went down, Jan. I really am. Like I said, I always liked you and your channel, but as with anything else, I must hold you to account, as I would with anyone when I see wrongdoing. And when your facts are incorrect, back to what I said earlier, you are entitled to your opinion. You are not entitled to invent the facts. And you most certainly are not entitled to play judge, jury, and executioner here. There is no right or wrong way to grieve, and the same would hold true within a community. What I am really sorry to see is that Etika's passing, this tragedy, if anything, besides raising awareness in the best way we know how, should be teaching us to be better people toward our fellow man. The shit show on Twitter the other day was anything but. We, especially in the mental health community, should provide unity amongst each other, especially during such tragedies, and supporting each other. But instead, it divided the community, and it ended up a lot of us tearing each other apart. I really hope it stops. That's all for this video. Thank you for stopping by, and I will see you in the next one.